What's going on? It's Justeeni here. I like to slander Polaris a lot on this channel. We all know it's really broken on Archipelago, and the whole starting with a very water-based tech can make it pretty unbalanced, but I don't actually hate Polaris that much. They do a lot of things right in terms of special tribes. Like, they're actually like pretty fun, dare I say. So here's some examples. Yeah. So, I mean, in this case, I actually get what I need, which you kind of have to with Polaris. Fun fact, Polaris is not very good on lakes because they're inconsistent for a few reasons, which I'll make note of in due time. I'm getting my nice connections, though. Able to rely on my starting tech alone to get everything I need, and I am against Illyria, and this is considered a good matchup for Polaris. Not an amazing one, but certainly not a bad one. This is a good matchup. Certainly one that you can win on small lakes. And I'm getting really nice economy on turn 5. This is something that any tribe would be happy to have, and more so for Polaris. I'm going to be able to transition to this in a pretty typical playstyle. Now, using riders, fighting for this ruin. One thing that I really like about Polaris, though, is they are a pretty aggressive tribe. They kind of have to be because they don't have markets. Like if you look at this, they don't have markets. They have Ice Bank, which is a lot worse than markets. Their super unit, the Gamis, are pretty frail against knights in the late game. And yeah. So they actually kind of need to be a bit aggressive because otherwise they fall really far behind. At least in this current day and age. That used to not be true with the back in the day old Polaris. But these days that's kind of how it is. You actually have to be aggressive in the mid game. You can't just greed out. Now they do siege me here, but I've got the Mooney ready. Get the Explorer going. You have to be very mindful with your Explorers with Polaris because they can never go on water even if you have fishing. So in order to get Eye of God like this, you need a lot of things to go right. I did it without climbing too. It's a little risky. But yeah, nice resource ruin. We're just absolutely going to town. Good old riders ready to go into roads. Just a really solid, really clean win. The whole outposts give me a very strong economy to work with. Sometimes this does just happen with Polaris. I don't like that they're inconsistent, but like, they are fun. Yeah, I just kind of... Yeah, this is kind of crazy. This is turn 10. This is against Illyrian, who you normally can't beat this early. But, I mean, their spawn wasn't great, so... Yeah, a bit of a spawn diff, but... Anyway, I'll go ahead and cut to another match. So, another fast Polaris match. This time, I don't have things going my way. In fact, it's actually quite bad. But unlike a tribe like Aquarion, which will probably be yesterday's video, if not, then it'll be tomorrow's video. Yeah. You can actually kind of cope with these bad spawns pretty well because, like, it's kind of like getting a bad spawn with a normal tribe. It's a little worse because you only have 5 starting stars, but it's still pretty workable. Like, I get a forestry ruin, which really helps me here. It's like getting a resource ruin here. So now we're kind of back in business. You know, much slower situation than last game, but, getting the outpost here. A little unfortunate, but things are happening. It's actually not too bad at all. Now they go for some sneaky ice-breaking plays. I've got my riding, though. This is a very common way to play with Polaris. Kind of for a few reasons. It just synergizes so well with Freeze, and Freeze is so strong that you can just rely on it like that. But yeah, I'm taking the city down here, which should have been theirs. It's really close to them, but I'm just gonna go across the water real quick. And yeah, they're gonna keep trying to chip, but my Mooney is very strong here. Taking this village from them. Expanding super well. And I've got more Moonies ready. And we're gonna see a very strong attack here. Freezing their capital. Bunch of Moonies ready to support. Explorer getting ready for I've got next turn. And they only have 3 cities. They were, I don't know why they got fishing. Then they just missed the city. So they're kind of about to get destroyed. They've got writing though, trying to hold on. But I'm walking in, sieging with the warrior. Moving forward with my minis as you do. Upgrades here, that doesn't really matter too much, let's focus on this. So we've got, again, this big, like, rush down. Like, it's kind of like old Saimanti, but, like, not really strong and not nearly as oppressive. But it still can be quite potent. They've got the unsiege, though. But now I just walk the Mooney in and freeze their defenders, block with some more units, and they don't have the unsiege here. So, not really much else happening in this game, but another just really fast. I attack them and it works. Because you're gonna have to do it that way with Polaris. Again, you can't rely on a super greedy late game or whatever, or just getting really lucky with aquaculture. You actually have to take some initiative. But anyway, I'll go ahead and cut to one more game. Alright, so the previous ones I showed a good matchup with Illyrian. This time I'm actually showing this isn't so much a bad matchup, it's kind of more mediocre. Like, Yadek's definitely favored, but it's not the worst matchup. That's for sure. One thing is the terrain for Yadek. It's not the best for Polaris. It's not bad, but Polaris starts with guaranteed animals, so you need to get 2 fruits on your capital if you want a reasonable chance here, and in this case I do. 1 fruit on this city is not a big deal, because I can always outpost to level up. But, yeah. I go here, I was expecting there to be nothing, and then I just workshop the city, but no. Their capital is right there. But that's not too bad. Polaris has the ability to attack. And even against Yadek, it's actually not too scary to spawn close to them like this. Moonies are quite a strong unit. Now, I'm not really going to be able to get away with much of an attack, but I can at least threaten some things, force a response for very cheap. And sure enough, they get some warriors, and I just break everything, so then I just steal this rune and move on with my life. The resource rune, that's another nice thing with Polaris. The tactics that you have with ice are pretty cool, like being able to just destroy the ice and kind of change my mind on this attack after they commit to the defense. It's pretty snazzy. Now I go riding, and I'm just ready to expand kind of more in the south and west. They take out my Mooney, but I already got the ruin, so I'm quite happy with that. There's no attack for them because I broke their only way of attacking into me. They have to get fishy now. But I'm getting roads. I'm just expanding like crazy over here. Getting my Gami on turn 9. So, kind of going to town. They capture a city here. So I immediately just start wailing away at this warrior. I've got the Mooney freezing, the rider supporting again. It's just such a strong combo. I mean, I wouldn't mind if Freeze got nerfed, so then this wouldn't be so abusable, because Polaris has a lot of other cool stuff. Like, they've got like ice archers, you know, you can use catapults sometimes. You have Gamis, you've got cloaks. We haven't even really seen any other things with Polaris, because riders and roads kind of is pretty strong. But I've got the Gami walking in. They've got some riders trying to support. But I go for this freeze play, and it works beautifully here, freezing both the riders, and I'm actually going to be able to take the city. There's no way after I break this ice for them to reach, because they can't really get this Mooney, unless they have like 2 riders, but then they'd also need 2 more riders to go around. So I guess they could reach, actually, because I think they can go over their own units. But it's quite costly, especially with 2 riders already frozen. They probably were not expecting this sort of attack, so they need a lot of units. And they've got 2, and that's it. Now I go for this Explorer. I was kind of funneling it earlier, if you're wondering why I didn't upgrade that city, because I wanted that Eye of God. It's really hard to get Eye of God with Polaris if you don't play precisely. Get another resource rune, of course, and then I just go into trade. I know Ice Banks aren't very good, especially on small map, but what else am I going to do with this advantage? Yeah, I'm actually kind of playing the long game because I've got a city advantage, so I can afford to do that. I've out expanded them. I can cash in. They decide to quit the game without resigning, so yeah, very cool. Ice Banks there. But yeah, really quick wins. All of these games very fast. Showed mostly good matchups, but this matchup was alright. if you're playing Polaris, try not to go against Omaji, Sabasi, or Venger. That's usually going to lead you to lose the game brutally. Instead, go against stuff like Chinchi or Quetzali or Hodrick. Those are usually your best bet. But yeah, I'd recommend at least trying some Polaris because unlike on Archipelago, they're actually like pretty fair, and you can do some really fun things with them. I quite enjoy the playstyle, actually, and the neat little tricks and tactics compared to like Arky, where it's just mindless sled spam and win. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Like and sub, and have a good one.